Welcome to another episode of the Blue Stable Podcast, the official Colts podcast of the Fansided Network. I am your host, Rashad McGinnis. I'm here with my co-host, Michael Terrazas, and our other co-host, Dustin Adams, is out of action. Why is he out of action, Michael?
I don't know. I mean, we asked him to come see us, and I'm busy. But anytime Florida comes calling, he's down there. But nah, he's at a bachelor party right now. I don't even know who's getting married, but it's a wedding. Oh, it's time to turn up. Hope he has a enjoyment, a good time, and we need to talk some things when he gets back. But other than that, man, dude, what a turn of events the last 48 hours have been in Colts Nation.
Yeah, man, it's been interesting to see a lot of flip-flopping I've been seeing on the timeline. We're going to get to Twitter Nation here in a second, but there's a lot of things that we want to talk about as we preview the game, the upcoming game. The Colts are at the Titans in Nashville, Tennessee. Last time Colts visited the Titans, it was a wrecking. It was a wrecking on primetime football. We enjoyed it. Everybody got to celebrate a Colts victory. But this time is a little different, man. Different circumstances, different quarterback. A lot of new players on each team. So we're going to see how it works out. But we're going to start this episode off with the injury report. And I have it right here just to note some notable guys that will not be in action. The only person ruled officially out as of now is Braden Smith. I know that's a big blow to the Colts. We saw the effect it had on the game last week when he didn't play. He was out with a foot injury, but now he's listed as foot and thumb. I wonder what could occur while you're rehabbing your foot that you can injure your thumb, Mike. You have any idea how you can injure your thumb rehabbing your foot?
He was probably fishing, caught an alligator, wrestled it, and hurt his thumb. Probably.
That actually sounds logical for Brady.
Hey, he goes fishing a lot. So, I don't know, man. I mean, the thumb kind of caught me out of nowhere. But yeah, I mean, I think him being the only guy that was ruled out right now, Xavier Rhodes, chance to play as well. But yeah, as long as these injury reports have been, we know Darius Leonard missed a couple practices this week. Man, I'm really curious about that ankle, dude. He had a procedure done, and it's still bothering him. It's still causing him to miss time in practice. So there might be something more major to look at once we get to the off season. See if there's going to be like a big surgery that's going to happen, because a procedure, I mean, maybe I'm not big into the medical field, but I think there's a difference between a procedure and an actual surgery. Like a surgery, they're going in depth, they're going to fix it. A procedure is we're fixing it for right now. Yeah. And that's what it was reported. He had a procedure, but other than that, man, I am ready. On the Titans side, they're not necessarily missing a lot of people. They're missing Anthony Ferkser, Derek Robertson, a backup pass rusher, and Caleb Farley, the notable name, but he's been dealing with this injury for the last year. So yeah, man, on the injury side, it looks a lot better than I thought it would coming into week 3 after everything that's been going on, but definitely a good sign to see.
Bad news. Taylor Lewan is returning, and we thought we was going to get a break as far as these tackles go. Quiddy Pace saw Dwayne Brown week 1 with Seattle. Then he saw Andrew Whitworth with the Rams, and now he's going to get his taste of Taylor. Taylor, first game out, he didn't do well. Chandler Jones erupted on him for 5 sacks. So hopefully, Quiddy can find his first sack of the season, the first sack of his career, and get on track with that matchup. That's a matchup I'm looking forward to. But other than that, we was happy to see Xavier Rhodes return, as Michael stated. Kyrie Willis is finally off of the injury report. And let me double check to make sure there isn't any notable names that I'm leaving off. Zach Pascal practiced in full. He had an illness earlier in the week. He's back. Jordan Glasgow was out due to concussion, I believe. And Paris Campbell fully practiced, so we'll be happy to welcome him back as well. So it looks like the Colts are trying to get healthy. The offensive line, Eric Fisher, had a rest day. They rested him this week. He looks like he's ready to go, and he won't be on a pitch count because we've seen him out for a crucial series last game, his first game back. He played well, But the last series of the game when Jacob Eason came in and threw the interception, Eric Fisher wasn't in on that drive. And not to say that had a direct impact on what occurred, but it definitely is noticeable when a left tackle of Eric Fisher's caliber, Pro Bowl caliber left tackle is missing. So we're happy to have him back. Is there anybody else on the injury report that you had anything to say about, Mike?
No, not really, man. Not really. When the injury report is concerned, I mean, obviously, since this is a good segue, Carson Wentz is looking like he's gonna play. This is still, that was the first time ever when the first initial report came out on Wednesday. The injury report, dude, I swear that is the first time I have ever seen the word ankles, plural, right. Ankles. That's the first time I've ever seen that. And the fact that he injured both of them and he's going to play again. I don't know, dude. Tennessee doesn't have a vaunted pass rush, so that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, our offensive line is still struggling. And maybe we may make Tennessee look like they do have a vaunted pass rush. Who knows? But I really, really hope this is his body catching up and healing rather than him forcing himself to play. Because I think I can't remember if it was you or Destin or both of y'all on the show in training camp when he first got injured, and I first initially said he can't buy into this criticism he gets. He can't try to make himself play to beat a narrative or let the media get to him. He has to go trust his body, trust the doctors, trust the test, the treatment, the rehab, whatever the case may be. Don't force yourself to play. And I really, really hope he's not forcing himself to play right now. Any player is going to force himself to play. But in this case, what was it? Did you see that out there? I could have swore I saw somewhere that Carson Wentz is like convincing himself to play to beat a narrative or something like that. Is that true? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, that's what you saw. I'm not sure how much truth it is to that. Let me ask you a question. Your honest opinion, yes or no. Do you think he should play on Sunday?
No, but it's a division game, so you're not going to hold out your starting quarterback. That's just – if it was Miami, I'm pretty sure he would sit out, but a division game is a division game, and they'd count twice as much. So me personally, I don't want to see him play in this game. No, this has nothing to do with me liking Jacob Eason. It has nothing to do with
I was getting to it.
I don't want to – I'm not going that far. We're in the regular season now. It's time to get serious, but it's week 3, man. Are we really about to put it all on the line? Hey, maybe that's just the beauty of football, man. Each week you give it everything you have and you put it all on the line. Okay, so let me get your opinion first. What is your reaction to Carson Wentz doing work today and leading up in the week? It felt like that was going to happen. He's going to miss Wednesday. He's going to miss Thursday, and they're going to try and give him a go on Friday. He did. What's your reaction?
Well, I saw an interview with Carson earlier this week, and he said that he has never, ever played in a game without getting at least one day of practice. So that was my barometer I was going off of. If he didn't practice at all, then I knew pretty much he was out. I thought if he was able to get one day, it'll be Friday, of course. That's what they typically do. They rest you as long as possible until the last day of practice. Saturday will be a brief walkthrough, and you want to get the players as much rest as possible. So what I really took away from that interview was Carson saying he's going to do everything to get himself ready, but ultimately it wasn't his decision, which is good for me. That means he's not going to try to force himself to play. He's going to listen to the doctors, he's going to listen to the training staff, and listen to the coaches, the people who got his best interest involved, because when it comes to a player, they're always going to say they're good. They can go and they can make it, but that's not always the case. So that's what I was most excited about. And I was texting my brother earlier, man, and well, I can't even say what he said, but I'll tell you after the show what he said. But I'm just glad that Carson is going to try to tough it out. And if it gets ugly early, then I think maybe, they have to consider sitting him. They don't want this thing to get aggravated or maybe worse. So I think they have to monitor him very, very closely. But hopefully he can stand in the pocket. Frank will scheme up some plays so he's able to get the ball out quickly, and he won't have to use much of his mobility because he won't be very mobile come Sunday.
Yeah, this Carson Wentz news has Colts Nation going in
Yeah.
completely. I tweeted earlier today. The tweet blew up a lot more than I thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a few NFL fan bases. I'm in Washington's, I'm in Arizona's, I'm in Dallas because I follow a lot of TCU people who happen to be Cowboys fans, so I'm already in there.
Yeah.
I'm in quite a few, and let me tell you, man, the Colts one is just the most freaking sensitive of them all. I mean, as soon as Carson Wentz, I mean, everybody all week, Jacob Eason sucks. He sucks. He sucks. Man, if he sucks so bad, cut the kid, man. If he sucks so bad, let him go. Something. I mean,
They're not gonna cut him.
Jesus. In my opinion, Rashad, if now a big indicator of Carson starting is going to happen tomorrow. Basically, Saturday is usually the day the Colts call up players from the practice squad a day early. So if Brett Hundley gets called up, I wouldn't necessarily say Carson Wentz is out because you still have to think, okay, he's still out here on limpy ankles, but if he gets hurt, who's going to be Jacob Eason's backup if he gets in the game?
Absolutely.
So if he gets called up tomorrow, I wouldn't read too much into it. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets called up and pregame, once Carson Wentz is deemed healthy, he's going to be a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised by that. But other than that, man, if now this is a big if, it's looking like he's going to play, but if Carson Wentz didn't play, man, what was your interest level? What was your, what's the word I'm looking for, man? What was your confidence going into this game with Jacob Eason?
I'm gonna be honest, it was a -10. I didn't, but I was one of the guys that I did still would rather go with Eason and go with Hundley. I mean, even if Hundley can come in and manage a game better than Eason just because of his experience, you invested a 4th-round draft pick into Jacob Eason. At some point, you gotta just let it go and see what he got. So I still was always team Eason as far as who was going to come in and play after Carson Wentz, but I just have no faith in Eason. And like I told you earlier when we talked earlier in the week, that has nothing to do with his talent, with his ability. He just hasn't shown me anything yet up until this point to prove that he can, break down and read an NFL defense. That's the only thing I need to see with him. It's not his ability. It's not his arm. We all know he can make every throw on the field, but he has to study the game. He needs reps, basically. That's all it comes down to. He just needs NFL experience and reps. And the only way you're going to get that is by playing. So that was the only thing I needed to see from Eason. Other than that, I think Brett Hundley was really more of we can scheme together an offense similar to the way we would do with Wentz because of Hundley's mobility. It wouldn't be a totally different game plan from Wentz if Hundley was available. That's why I think Hundley was involved. When Eason and Wentz, they're two totally different type of quarterbacks. So it would include a completely different game plan if you're game planning with Hundley or you're game planning with Carson Wentz or Jacob Eason. So that's the reason why I think Hundley was even in consideration, because we could keep the game plan pretty simple, do a lot of RPOs, bootlegs, try to use Hundley's mobility. But his arm is just so weak, man. And that's what I think was the deciding factor why I would go with Eason over Hundley.
Yeah, dude, I agree with you. Not on the Brett Hundley part. I mean, I just don't care who says what. Brett Hundley was never in serious consideration for the starting job, in my opinion. There's just no way. I mean, here's the thing about it. Sam is out, so if he was out, Brett Hundley wouldn't be in the conversation. Everybody's talking about, oh, it's such a shame Sam is hurt. Sam wasn't going to play either. Stop playing. Stop capping. I mean, at this point, it's almost like if you're not confident in the backup quarterback that you have, then why do you have him on the roster? That's my thing. If you're just not confident in him, don't keep him on the roster then. If you continue to have these questions, these in your inner circle inside the organization, if you continue to have these questions, why do you still roster the kid? Why? If what the Colts fans saying are true, if what they're saying is, oh my gosh, he sucks, he's not ready, if things we've heard, is true, then why the hell is he still on this roster? Why is he still here? If you don't believe in him, cut him. Cut him. So that's my biggest thing. If rarely do quarterbacks in situational organizations feel comfortable about their backup situation.
Right.
Not every organization does. But hey, I still would have rooted for Jacob. I still would have believed in him. I still would have freaking been on my feet the whole game for him. But Carson Wentz is playing, and it's time to get into this matchup.
Yep. So Carson Wentz is will hopefully play if he responds well. We'll see about that. But let's get on to the matchup that you like the most. Let me know what matchup is that just piques your interest the most, and the one that you think the Colts has the biggest advantage in when it comes to matching up with the Tennessee Titans.
Honestly, from what I've seen through 2 weeks, I don't think there's any matchup that they are favorable in. If there's one I can possibly think of, it's wide receivers versus their secondary. Our wide receiver versus their secondary. I don't think their secondary is good at all. I mean, Jesus, how many yards have they allowed the last 2 games? How many points have they allowed the last 2 games? It's bad, man. That defense is not very good in my opinion, and hell, maybe ours isn't either. We haven't looked good at all either. But yeah, I would say the one that interests me, I would say our wide receivers against their secondary. I'm looking for another big game for Michael Pittman. Paris Campbell's most likely going to be playing. How are they going to get him in the offense? Zach Pascal, Jack Doyle, is he going to be another, he was really reliable last game. So other than that, man, that's the one I'm looking at.
That's a good one. Like you said, Michael Pittman erupted last week, 8 for 123. And then Zach Pascal added another touchdown. He's up to 3 touchdowns in 2 games. All he does is catch his touchdowns with 7 touchdowns.
Hey, he's someone to grab for. He's someone to grab for that flex in fantasy.
Hey, man, he's an interesting option. And like you said, this week, matching up with that Tennessee Titans secondary, that is a favorable matchup. So anybody got Zach Pascal in your fantasy league, start him. My matchup I like the most is probably the Colts running backs against these linebackers for the Tennessee Titans. I just don't think it's a good group besides Brown. Nyheim Hines, I don't think they have anybody that can match up with him. I don't like their slot cornerbacks. They're using Elijah Molden in the slot, and oh boy, that's just another story. We're not even going to.
That's bad. I hope he lines up at the slot every time, please.
Yeah, that'd definitely be a mismatch for anybody that lines up in the slot for us. But yeah, I like the running backs. You got to get Hines involved. We have a lot of speed with Hines and Campbell, those type of guys. And I don't see that Tennessee Titans defense being able to match up with that. They're a very slow team. They don't have team speed. They don't rally to the ball well, as I've seen in the first 2 games as well. And their defense has given up at least 30 points in each of the first 2 games of the season. So we got to attack those with the running backs. Nyheim Hines only had 2 touches, I believe, last game. That is simply unacceptable. So we have to get him the ball more. We have to get him more involved. I know Marlon Mack had a few touches, but we got to think about this. Every time Marlon Mack touches the ball, that's 1 touch that's taken away from Nyheim Hines. So, you got to think about it. You got to pick your poison and be careful what you ask for. So I'm really interested in that matchup. I think that can be something that goes our way. So, Michael, let me know which matchup you dislike the most. I think I know where you're going with this.
Oh, man. The one I dislike the most, dude. I'm going to say our front 5 versus Tennessee's front 4. It's not because of their pass rushers. I really don't fear them whatsoever. But Jeffrey Simmons, Ryan Kelly hasn't looked good. Quentin Nelson has looked good, even though he's nursing a back injury. But still, I mean, he's lost some reps at the same time. So, but here's where it's going to get with me. If we're going to move the ball running it, dude, our linemen have got to get to the second level. And that pair of linebackers Tennessee has, they're gearing up. I promise you, everything is gearing up for this run game. Rasheed Evans, Jayon Brown, even their backups I like, man. David Long Jr., Monty Rice out of Georgia. these are some good, solid linebackers, man. Good instincts, good in the run game. I mean, they're tough. They are tough. They are a tough Mike Vrabel pair of linebackers, and that's Mike Vrabel's calling, man. Finding tough linebackers, that's where it is. So that's one that worries me a lot. If we cannot run the football, man, dude, this is a division game. You have to impose your will. If you weren't able to run against LA, fine. If you weren't able to run against Seattle, fine. But against a division opponent, you have to show that card and you have to be good at it. So that's one that worries me a lot. Can Ryan Kelly take care of his business, get to the second level, open some holes? Hey, Lewinsky's healthy, but he's also been losing a couple reps here and there too. So it's all about our front five getting to the second level and allowing these running backs to work.
And under normal circumstances, that would be a strength matchup for us. You know, our offensive line is supposed to be a top 3 offensive line in the league. That's a matchup we never normally worry about under certain circumstances. But as we saw these last 2 games, they have struggled immensely. So I get why that's your biggest concern. My biggest concern is simple: Derrick Henry against this Colts run defense, which is normally supposed to be a strength of ours. It's crazy, the 2 things that we're supposed to be able to hang our hats on, you know, was our run game and our offensive line and our run defense. You know, we're always pretty good against the run for the last couple of years, ever since we had Big Grove and DeForest Buckner. Those guys, we've always missed out against the run. Now it seems like those 2 are things we're struggling with. I believe we're giving up 4.2 yards per carry. And we got Derrick Henry rolling into Tennessee, an angry Derrick Henry who just came off a monster game against the Seattle Seahawks. Derrick Henry has 201 yards after contact. That is more yards than any running back has total so far this season. Man. The next closest person is Joe Mixon with 196 yards. Derrick Henry is absolutely insane. He has 201 yards after contact. He has 240 yards total rushing so far this season. And it concerns me, man. We saw what happened when D-Buck and Big Grove couldn't go last year due to the COVID situation. Derrick Henry ran for 178 on us. We do not need that to happen again. So hopefully we're better prepared and we could get back to our run-stopping ways that we've been at for the past couple of seasons and not what we've been seeing the last 2 games.
Well, see, here's the thing. I honestly don't know if we're going to get back to those, man. I really don't. I've said many times this defense misses Anthony Walker, and that is true. People can say, oh, he didn't play that much or anything, but when it came to the rundowns, those were the snaps he was playing.
Absolutely.
And that's why we were so good. Another thing, and I still stand by, it was time to move on. But damn, man, we missed Danico and Justin Houston at the edge positions in this run game. The way they would crash the pockets, crash the line, they would contain, they would not let the guys just go through the tackles. We missed that. We missed that toughness, that meat on the ends. Look, man, Akadim Muhammad's just not going to do it. Kwity Paye's a rookie. I'm not going to put that on him. I just don't see us getting back to that. I really don't. Through 2 games, I've gone back and watched these 2 games, man. We're not even close. We're not even close. Al-Qadim Muhammad is getting pushed around. Kwity Paye is getting pushed around in the run game. I mean, I just don't see it. Kwity Paye, he can definitely mature in the NFL, get some more muscle on him, get that technique down in the run game. But until that happens, man, Jesus, and I'm not even going to make this about, until Dio Odengbo, he's going to be coming back from an Achilles, dude. I'm not even expecting that to be that great. So, look, man, this is probably what this defense is. Without a solid run game, this defense looks pretty average. And Zach Hicks, he's said it many times, against top 10 offenses last year, we were pretty bad, and we didn't face many of them at all. We faced Green Bay. We faced Buffalo in the wild card game. We faced, I think, one more, in my opinion. Who was that other one? I can't even think of which one that was. Cleveland.
Yeah, we played Cleveland.
Yeah. And we weren't even that good. So, look, man, you said the Derrick Henry stuff, but our secondary against Julio Jones and A.J. Brown.
That was the matchup I actually thought you was going to go with. You know, I thought you was going to go with that matchup. I knew the Derrick Henry matchup was the front door easy.
Yeah.
But
Easy.
I thought you was going with because that scares me to death. Julio and AJ Brown against our secondary. Thank God Xavier Rhodes coming back. Not saying he's the savior or anything, but having another competent corner out there, man, and not relying on TJ Carey to have to guard one of these guys. Rockison, like we spoke about in pre-production, Rockison has been playing pretty solid. Haven't been hearing his name called, which is always a good thing, for a cornerback. The quieter he is, the better off he's doing. So I like that.
I mean, don't get mistaken, man. I still think Julio Jones is the best wide receiver in football.
Really?
I still think so, man. That
I'm
man
not mad
is still
at
a beast.
I'm not mad at it.
That man is still a beast. We need to remember. We need to recognize. I'm not even mad if people want to say DeAndre Hopkins or Vontae Adams.
That's what I was thinking.
You won't get an argument from me. You won't get an argument from me. I'll agree all three. But I got mad love for Julio Jones, man. I got mad love for him. So if that means he's going to murder our secondary, hey, I mean, AJ Brown did it last year. So, but that's another one that worries me. Hey, Chester Rogers revenge game. How about it?
Chester Rogers was their leading receiver in week 1. I don't know if you knew that, but he led the team in receiving.
Are you serious?
Week 1? Yeah, he did. Week 1, yep. Julio erupted in week 2, but in week 1, Chester Rogers was their leading receiver, bro, for that game.
Yeah. People are kind of thinking AJ Brown is like falling off. I'm like, no, when you add more weapons, that's just going to happen.
Absolutely.
You don't make that trade for Julio Jones and that money just to give him 4 catches a game. That's not going to happen. AJ Brown, I think learning from having a mentor like Julio Jones is amazing. And my goodness, how even better AJ Brown might become. Look, I know there's a heated rivalry going on, but I got mad love for AJ Brown. Julio Jones, Ryan Tannehill is not an average quarterback. He is a very good quarterback. Derrick Henry, he works. He's a professional. But yeah, this matchup is crazy to me. I don't know what the final score is going to be. What is the line? What is DraftKings saying the line is, like 5.5?
I looked at it earlier too. I think, let me see. I'm gonna double check it because I don't want to lie. I just looked at it earlier today though. Colts at Titans. Let me see. The line is 5.5.
5.5. Yep. So do you think they cover?
Well, we got to do a score prediction at the end. So,
okay.
So we'll save it.
Yeah. So what do the Colts have to do to win?
For as a key to victory, I'm going to go with the Colts have to, sounds obvious, stop the run. The Colts have to stop the run. This is when you need your biggest game from Grover Stewart. And shout out to Grover Stewart dropping off in the pass coverage and getting his hands on the ball, almost getting an interception. I said that was the most amazing thing I saw in week 2. Probably confused the hell out of Stafford seeing a 300-some pound man drop off in the coverage. But Matt Eberflus, I never want to see it again. I never want to see Grover Stewart dropping back into coverage. He made a heck of a play for a guy his size. And he's going to need to be on his A game against Derrick Henry. He's going to see a lot more snaps than he typically sees on a week-to-week basis because you typically go to base defense a lot more when you're playing the Tennessee Titans. So he's going to need a big game. Him, and I expect DeForest Buckner to be DeForest Buckner, and they have to stop the run. Darius Leonard, you're going to have to take over a bigger role in the run game. Bobby Okereke, you have to step into those Anthony Walker shoes in the run game, man. As Mike said, Mike called you out, not called you out as in you ain't playing well, but far as you having to do more. Anthony Walker was not only a physical presence in the run game, but he was an awesome leader in the locker room. And that's the type of things that the average fan, a casual fan, just don't know. They don't pay attention to that. They don't think about that. They say, oh, well, he was exposed in pass coverage. Yeah, but you can't be good at everything. And some of the things that you can be great at is not on film. Like what he did for that locker room, he was a glue guy. That's what you call a glue guy, a guy that kept everybody together. And I think you're seeing some of that when you see the defense struggle and it seemed like a snowball effect and there's nobody to really rally around. That was Anthony Walker's job. That was the guy to bring it together. He was the longest tenured coach at the time on the defense, before he was shipped off to Cleveland. But I think if Darius Leonard and Bobby Okereke fills the gaps in the run game, Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner do their thing, I think they'll be okay. What matchup are you leaning toward?
Well,
I mean, what's the key?
One more thing about Anthony Walker, man. Going back on this all 22, that sideline image that you don't get during the game. I went back to last year, man. And a lot of times, Anthony, when all three of the linebackers were on the field, Anthony Walker was communicating to Bobby Okereke, you're in the wrong spot. You're supposed to be out there in the flat, or you're supposed to be out there dropping back in zone, not staying in the middle of the field, not hovering, not quarterback spying. That's not your job. And there were many times after a play would happen and it was like a 10, 15-yard gain, Anthony got with Bobby, hey, man, don't do this, or he was talking to him, communicating with him. That's something that I never realized. And I was watching every single snap of every game last year.
Yeah.
So, again, the Anthony Walker effect is real. It's real.
It is.
But one that I'm looking for, a key to victory, because I know we're going to do it, especially in a division game. But can we please get 1 yard on fourth down? Can we please do that? Offensive line, can we step up? Carson Wentz, can we not directly throw it to the defender? Can we get some execution going? So another thing, if Matt Eberflus's defense gets ran out of the building, I'm not going to fault it. But if next week Jacoby Brissett goes over 250, if he goes over, I'm saying it now, I'm saying it a week early, okay? If Jacoby Brissett basically beats your defense, yeah, I think it's time to get louder on Twitter about my opinion. I think so. But other than that, staying here in the now, what do you say? It's time to get into some predictions?
Yeah, man, let's get into predictions. Score predictions. Mike, you're going to have to do the dirty work and go first. Or are you not going to do the dirty work?
I'm not doing the dirty work.
Okay.
I do think this is going to be a fun one. I do think it is. I think both teams know where they're at. One is 0-2, one is 1-1. One's coming off a pretty disappointing loss. One's coming off a thrilling victory over a team they know we lost to. So a lot of pride in this game. It's going to be a lot of toughness. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of chirping, barking. There's a lot of shoving after run plays. Maybe Derrick Henry flexing his muscles. But I do see again, man, I think both defenses are pretty average or below average from what they've shown. The offense is where it's at. One team has proven so far they can run the ball. One team has proven so far they can consistently pass the ball. And I'm going to take Tennessee in this game, man. I'm going to take Tennessee in this
What's
game. I think, honestly, man, I'm going to give it 38-33. 38-33.
Okay, so you haven't been a thriller.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. That Tennessee Titans defense, they give up a lot of points. And so I can see that happening, especially you. So you must have Carson playing if you have us scoring 33 points.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
If it was Jacob, I probably would have had Tennessee maybe 30-17 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I feel like the defense would have just stepped up a lot more. I don't know.
I get that. I'm good with that. I have it. Jesus, man. Because I feel bad because we've been picking against the Colts 3 weeks straight.
Hey, man, we're talking football. That's all we're doing.
I know, man, and I'm not one of those people. What I like is that we're not homers. We don't just agree with everything the Colts do. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Tennessee. But I think this game is going to be closer than a lot of people think. I'm predicting. I'm gonna go 27-24. I'm gonna go 27-24. I think it's a 3-point game. I think Carson Wentz plays solid, but I think he's not able to really overcome that injury. And you see the effects of his play. You know, he doesn't have his mobility. He's forced to make throws strictly from the pocket, which is not his strong point. Something he can do, but something he doesn't like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think that's ultimately the difference this game. But I do think we get them back later on this season when they come to Indy for sure.
So if we do go 0-3, man, who I mean, injuries do play a part, but at the end of the day, dude, man, you can't.
No excuses, man. No excuses.
There's no
bro.
excuses, man. There's just no excuses.
Man.
I mean, this is like if we were a casual, let's say we were just a regular football show and we weren't really watching these games, we would say, "Oh, if the Colts are 0-3, Frank Reich will be on the hot seat." But this is what happens. This is what happens when you actually watch the games. Matt Eberflus should have been fired last year, but he's still here. The defense has not played up to par. Still running a Madden rookie mode defense. I really got to see how this game goes, man. I'm so curious to see how it goes. It's a division game. Like, you have to get up for this. You have to. You have to. The two teams you faced are good. One of them we know is good. Another one is like, let's see what they are by week 10. Yeah. But yeah, man, I really hope this team comes out with a victory, because if they start 0-3, man, you know, people can say, "Oh, time to look toward the draft," and I've been saying it, Derek Stingley season.
You've been calling for it.
But hey, look, when it comes to Jacob Eason, I do think he does get his shot. Carson Wentz is, I just don't know health-wise if you can count on him. I can't. That's not necessarily saying anything bad about him.
Right.
But a man can take so much punishment for so long. We Colts fans know that. A man can take so much punishment for only so long. And I don't know about you, but I don't think Carson Wentz is as thick and as strong as Andrew Luck was. So I really hope he makes it through this season, but hey, man, I don't know, but on Sunday I'm gonna be hyped still. Hey, Michael Pittman, give me another 100-yard game.
If this offensive line don't play better, Carson isn't gonna last, like you said, man.
Well, I mean, he may, because of this. They don't have a pass rush. They don't. Unless, I mean, Eric Fisher is going to be back, so that's a plus. He'll be going up against Bud Dupree coming off a torn ACL. And then the other one, you got to worry about Harold Landry, who last time I heard he was good. He was at Vanderbilt. So that's just it for me, man. The next 2 days, it's going to be pretty intense football for me. Tomorrow, TCU, SMU. Gary Patterson's pretty pissed. That's going to be an intense game. Tennessee, Indianapolis. That's going to be an intense game. So 2 days in a row. I'm ready, man. I'm ready to get back to some football. I think my high school alma mater is winning their game back in Texas right now. So I'm in a good mood right now, man.
I'm anxious to see who becomes the new coach at my USC Trojans. We're going through. But I'm standing by. I'm stamping it now. USC has the best wide receiver in college football, Drake London. You will hear that name on Sunday. Go do your homework, Mike. Do your homework, Mike.
Okay.
I'm a believer.
One thing that I've realized, this is a sorry quarterback class.
Oh, man.
This is a bad quarterback class.
That is a whole nother podcast for another day.
That's a whole nother podcast.
We really do. We're going to talk about this.
We're going to talk about that in January. We might talk about it in November when we're 0-11. So we might just talk about it then.
You're absolutely right.
This is such a pathetic quarterback class, but hey, that is definitely another show for another day. Rashad, I'm not sure if we have anything else to talk about tonight.
Man, I think that's gonna wrap us up, man. I want to thank the people for tuning in to the Blue Stable podcast, the official Colts podcast of the Fansided Network. Man, we appreciate y'all. And like we say every week, man, go Colts.